Hi, thanks for joining me. My name is Dan Smith. I'm a migration and help desk engineer for Hosted Desktop. Today we're going to be taking a look at accessing your hosted desktop through a web browser. This can be any web browser. It doesn't have to be Internet Explorer, but that's what we're going to be using for today's demonstration purposes. This is a free service made available to anyone that's a customer of ours. So if you have a hosted desktop, you have access to this feature. If you have a hosted web app server, perhaps you'll have access to this. Or even if you just have a hosted server, again, you'll have access to this. We're going to be taking questions throughout the webinar, so if you have any questions, please do feel free to ask, and we'll address these at the end of the session. Okay, so firstly, how are we going to go about accessing a hosted desktop? So what you want to do is you want to come to our website, hosteddesktopuk.co.uk. You want to click on Customer Login and access it through HD Web Access. This is going to take you to this page. Alternatively, you can type the address https://webaccess.hdcloud.co.uk. That's going to take you to this web page. There's a bit of information you need before we start. The first is going to be your server name, which will be given when you first sign up to Hosted Desktop. If you don't know it, don't worry, just give us a call and we'll be happy to help. So for today's demonstration purposes, we're going to be using the server demo.hosteddesktopuk.co.uk. Some of you are going to have a port number at the end of your computer name. If you have it, you just want to pop it in the box underneath port. If you don't have a port number, just leave it as default 3389. Next, what you want to do is you want to pop in your username, which is normally first name dot last name. It could be something else, but that's the most common. So for me, it's just Daniel.Smith. Next is the password. If you just pop in your password. Again, if you don't know it, just give us a call. We'll be happy to help. Some of you have this saved, so you just click and connect. So don't worry if you don't know it, just give us a call and we'll be happy to help. Next box, domain, you just want to leave this blank. And finally, keyboard. Keyboard, we're always going to select United Kingdom. Unless you're using a Mac, I'd suggest using United States. The keyboard layout is a little different. That's pretty much everything we need to do to get connected. So that's the basics. We're going to click on display and go through the rest of the options. Width and height, you're going to leave these as the defaults. It's more than enough. If you want the full screen, just click full screen or full screen browser. It's entirely up to you. We're just going to use full browser for today. Next is the color depth. If you want to up this, it will make the hosted desktop look nicer, but can have an impact on performance. If you have a really bad internet connection, you might want to set it to 256. Today we're just going to use 16-bit. Next is the local. What you want to do is you want to select the time zone you're currently in. So if you're away on holiday, perhaps in a hotel lobby, try to connect to your hosted desktop from there. You want to select the time zone that you're currently in. Next is the audio. Again, if you change this, it will make things sound better, but can have an impact on performance. So I'm just going to leave that at the default low for the time being. Next, what you want to do is you want to click the tick boxes for clipboard and printer. You're going to be wanting to copy and paste from the hosted desktop, so it's just you leave these as is. Next, printer name. I'm going to type the printer name that you want your printer to appear in this box. We're going to come back to that a bit later. The default is remote printer from client. Next, what you want to do is tick the tick box for fast copy and paste. If you use fast copy and paste, that's Control V, Control C. The next tick box is upload and download files. You're going to be wanting to copy files to and from the hosted desktop, so I'd suggest you click this and leave it checked. The next is the shared disk name. The default is storage. I'm going to leave that and come back to that a bit later on. These next two boxes we're going to go through are just here for compatibility. You probably will never use these, but we'll go through them pretty quickly. These are just here for full compatibility. Advanced, these tick boxes, the more you tick, the better the hosted desktop will look, but again, it can have an impact on performance. So we're just going to leave these all unchecked for now. We go back to the Generals tab and click Connect. And that's it, you're connected to your hosted desktop. You now see every program that you have installed. If you have any programs installed in your desktop, you can access them from here. You can use it as you would your normal hosted desktop. We're going to be talking about importing and exporting files from the hosted desktop. It does work a little differently, but it's very, very easy to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to minimize the window. We're going to find our file we want to import it to the hosted desktop. So for me, that's this file here. What you want to do is you want to drag and drop it into the hosted desktop window. Anywhere will do. Just drag and drop. It gets put into the hosted desktop. So we just go back a moment. We go back to, we're going to go to our computer. We're going to go to the shared storage pool. This pool is a bit like a working area. It's just showing us there our file that we've imported in earlier. From there we can drag and drop it to anywhere on a hosted desktop or copy and paste it into an E or S drive if you have one of those. And now what we're going to do is we're going to demonstrate exporting. So it works a little differently. What you want to do is you want to find the file that you want to export. You want to drag it into this shared storage pool. Okay, so there's our file. Next you want to click on the cloud icon at the top of the screen. Let's just try that again. Select the file that you want to download. So for me that's this file here. And click on the little arrow next to the file. That's going to download the file to your local desktop, much like you would download any file off the internet. And from here you can click Open or Save. We can click Save for now. And that's going to save in our default documents location, My Downloads. So there's our file. From there we can copy and paste it to anywhere on our local desktop that we want to. And that covers copying files into the hosted desktop and exporting files out of the hosted desktop. Okay, so with that, I just want to go back to the storage pool and just cover a bit more information about this. The name here you can see storage. We go back to the original box on the locals tab. Storage is the name given to the storage pool. The default, as it says, is storage. So if we were to call this storage pool my storage pool 1, that would be the name we would see here in the hosted desktop. So next what we're going to do is we're going to cover printing from a hosted desktop. It works a bit differently, but it's very, very easy to do. What we're going to do is we're going to create a file here, printer test, and just give this file a bit of contents as well. I'm going to save that. And then we're going to print in the normal manner. So press print. What you want to do is you want to select the printer from client. Now this printer name is the name given in the box here on the local display tab. The default, as it says, is local printer from client. You could call this any name you like. So, for example, my printer 1 or my HP printer, that's the name you would see here. Now you always want to select this printer regardless of whatever printers are installed on the hosted desktop. So press print, and what that's going to do is it's going to generate a PDF of the document we're trying to print and bring up a printer box as well. Now these printers listed here are going to be the printers installed on your local PC. So what we're going to do is we're going to select the printer on our local PC and press print. It's that simple. And that covers printing from a hosted desktop. Okay, I'm just going to go over some questions we've had throughout the webinar. The first question is, I'm concerned about my security, accessing it through a non-secure connection. Is this going to affect my hosted desktop? No, we've got this covered. The whole hosted desktop through a web browser is done through HTTPS. This is the same security method as if you were accessing a bank or a secure website. So it's all nice and secure, nice and encrypted, and nobody can gain access to your hosted desktop whilst you're using it. The next question is, will multiple monitors work in a hosted desktop via a web browser? No, unfortunately not. The web page is actually displayed in a web browser. So although you can stretch this browser page across two screens, the hosted desktop would not work in a two-screen display. Lastly, do we need a VPN connection? VPN connections, it depends on your current setup. So if you have VPN printers, this will all work in the background. It's not required to access your hosted desktop through a web browser. This concludes today's session. If you have any questions or queries, please do give us a call. The telephone number is 0203 239 6181, and a member of our support team will be happy to help.